So good to see you all. Yay. All right, so let's get into this. So who am I? I am Carina. I am very excited to be here to show my passion with everybody. I am certified in teacher's assistant with hands-on classroom experience. I am currently enrolled to obtain my bachelor's. I did take my summer off, so I've been relaxing. My passion really came from lashing. Um, was really when it started when I was little. So I used to be in cheer and dance my whole life, and I always seemed to feel like I had a superpower whenever I put on lashes. So, if I put on my makeup like today, I put on my makeup and guess what? I had no strip lashes, didn't have any lashes on, so I'm just using mascara. In my head, I'm like, "Ah," but reality is I just think I personally look a lot better with lash extensions. So, I started doing my lashes, religiously, like, I would go every time I see my lash artist at that time back in 2020 no, sorry, 2016, 2017, and every time I left ooh, male lash artist, um, is every time I would wake up for my lash nap, I would be like, "Oh my god, I look so good, I look so amazing," and I just got this feeling of, like, endorphin, excitement because you look good, you feel good, so I said, "If I look and feel this good, I wanna do that for somebody else," and that's exactly how I started my lash journey. I was gonna go to school, but then COVID hit, so then I took some time and I was just working, and that's when I got pregnant with my daughter, and when she was born, I said, "You know, it is time to do what I really wanna do," because at that time, I was working, as a restaurant manager, and I was working about 60 hours a week. I mean, I was doing the job for 3 managers, I was doing the hiring, I was doing the training, I was even traveling at that time for that company to open stores all over the US, so it wasn't fulfilling me, and I said, "I want my daughter to look at me and know that I chased my dream." So, I already had at that time I already had learned a little bit of Sugar Lash, and I was like, "Hmm, that's interesting." So when I went to, take my tour at the University of Cosmetology, Arts and Science in McAllen, I walked around, and when I went into the admissions office, I saw Sugar Lash 2 Sugar Lash Pro T-shirts and a lash kit, and I remember this very like it was yesterday, right? I walked in, and I looked around, and I was like, I don't know what I have to do to get there, but I'm going to get there one day. The admissions laughed, I laughed, right? But it's funny to know that now with dedication and hard work, I am here as a Sugar Lash Pro educator. So that was my story of coming up with school. I am licensed since 2022. I am 7 times certified with Sugar Lash Pro. So I have completed other things, other courses, which I absolutely love because as someone who works a lot, I'm a mom, I'm very active in my daughter and her life with cheerleading and Girl Scouts. Um, this career has allowed me to do that flexibility with my career. So I actually joined Sugar Lash Pro last year, 2025. It's been a year and a half, and I can't wait to celebrate my second year here. And my first training was actually at Ogle, Atlanta, which is actually incredible because my last trip that I had this year with Tammy and Adriano was actually again at Ogle. So it was a full circle of being back where it all started. So today we're gonna go over the refined observation skills we need, facial balance, advanced mapping for every face, corrective techniques, the Carina method. So we're gonna do a breakdown of that. So every time you are lashing and mapping, you will think of the steps you need to make an amazing lash map. Um, so we're gonna learn to not just map the eye, but design the face. And of course, we are going to deep dive into our Procreate app. I will show you a slide about using the Procreate app and then also show you a demonstration live. So I have actually never face mapped my own face, and I thought that'd be pretty cool to do together live and see what looks good for me and what doesn't. So for lash mapping and why lash mapping is evolving. So we know the old approach was all about one map that fits all. But this is gonna show why it is important to use the Carina method, why it exists now. So years ago, lash mapping was a template based, right? You went ahead and said, "I've learned open eye, dull eye, and even scroll eye," and what we did was use that same map all around. When I first started lash mapping, all I knew was cat eye. I'm gonna be extremely honest. So guess what? Everyone got cat eye. I was like, "You get cat eye, you get cat eye, everyone gets cat eye," because I didn't understand what would work for certain face shapes. And now this job is just deciding simply what our clients want now, right? We're not just gonna get inspiration from Pinterest or just copy what you see. And this has happened for me. I've had clients come in and they'll show me a picture and say, "I want this exact map, put this on my face." And while we have done that and accepted that as a standard, it does not look good all around. So this all depends on the face shape. So when they say cat eye and maybe they want 16, 17's lengths, maybe they just cannot handle that because of their natural shape. So the old one map fits all is the old approach. We just followed a formula and we focused only on the eye shape. We would just take the eye shape and say, "This is what we're gonna put on you." So now we love to learn the approach of every client. So we know that every person has different eye shapes, everyone has different natural health on their lashes, and now we want to analyze the entire face while also designing with intention. A lash map is a blueprint and not a recipe. And so, like, in case your client says, "Oh, I want something more lifted," or they want something more awake, or they want something more to soften their look, these are the questions that we want to learn to use for our mapping. So our evolution of lash mapping. So I'm just using this as a reference back to 2015 because this is around the time that I started doing lashes. I could not remember the exact time frame, but I graduated in 2012, and then I think once I got my first, like, job in college, I was already using lash extensions. So I would just say cat eye every time. Like, she knew that's what I was gonna get, and I didn't question my lash art at time. At that time, I was also getting these lashes done, and I knew automatically they looked very heavy on me. So now that I look back at those pictures, and I was trying to find one actually, but I can only vividly remember when I would get them done. It was always a way to see them droop. So they would just give me a cat eye, and in the end, it would get very droopy, and it would make my eyes look a little smaller. Now, at that time, I was a college girl, so I was like, "Oh, that's what I like." But now, evolving and seeing different lash maps, I do see something else that I would like. So today now we are instead of copying a map, we are now creating the design. Instead of just looking at the eye shape, we're gonna look at the whole face analysis. Our formula has turned into something that is custom, and we wanna customize it per person, per client, and our technique would be changed to our artistry. So we're not lash techs, we're lash artists. So on a quick poll, how long has everyone been lashing? It's so good to see, a lot of you here, so thanks so much for hanging out with me today. 13 plus years, I love it, I love it. Ugh, I love the experience, 2 years. Those just go by fast, guys, I'm at year 5, I'm just like, "What?" I feel like I lashed just like I just started yesterday. Amazing. Best lash artist? Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Ugh, I love that for you. I love that, I love that. Amazing. 5 months? Oh, amazing, congratulations. 9 years, amazing. Now, what is your biggest struggle right now with lash mapping? Asymmetry? Mhm. Alright, so awesome. And I hope I can answer all your questions today to not have you guys guessing about these, the symmetry or any question retention or anything like that. I hopefully can help you with the mapping to get to that perfect set. So by the end of today, you're gonna learn how to analyze the whole face, how to customize every map, how to avoid common styling mistakes, and how to create premium custom sets. Yes, I love that. And every client is always different, so it always just depends on the person, right? Yes, thank you. So let's break it down. We're gonna get into this, guys, and these next slides are gonna be a lot of jam-packed information, so just be aware of that. You can take some pictures, or you can always remember you can back any of our webinars. They're always easy to access. So let's break it down. Every lash artist can memorize maps. My goal is to teach you how to think thoroughly through every phase, through every design using the Carina method. And this is gonna be just a breakdown of how to use it, so whenever you're mapping, you're never gonna second guess yourself. So the Carina method. C is for consult, A is for assess, 3 is for refine, 1 individualize, and navigate, and 8 analyze. I break them all down in each slide, and then we will also break them down whenever we do our face mapping on Procreate. If you do have the Procreate app, you can go ahead and follow along if you have a face, and then I will show you some extra details with that. So consult. This is the time where we understand your client's goals, the lifestyle, the maintenance, and expectations. We want to learn everything that it is to learn about our client. We want to know, why do we choose that meth or the shape of the eye, or why do we choose that curl? How do we fix to make sure that they will work together? So before I can design anything, I need to understand my client's goals. I need to understand if they want low maintenance, high maintenance, all the 21 questions that we can think of, this is the time to do that. So what does my client really want, right? Did they come in here with a set? They said, "It's a natural eye. This is what I want." Okay. Now let's talk about their lifestyle. So what do you do? For the model that we're gonna be talking about, where she is we're gonna make a story for her. She is at home, she goes to school, she's focused, she's career driven, but she doesn't really go to the gym. She's like, "Oh, I go for walks outside. I don't really use makeup, so I want something that's a little bit more than natural, but a lot less than mega volume." "Okay, so you want volume." That's what I'm thinking. She says, "Yeah, that's exactly what I want." But I'm trying to think of, does she do things like CrossFit? She says, "No, I don't do any of that." "Are you on any medication?" "No, I'm not, don't worry about that." "Okay, cool." So she is ready to just get a natural set. So she gives me inspiration from Pinterest. So she's like, "This is a beautiful eye shape that I want," or fullness of look. I need to be realistic on her natural lashes as well. If I tell her, "Yes, I can do that," but when I see her and I notice that she has a lot more sparse lashes, or maybe they are short, and I need to give her a realization, or, like, I have to make her realize what we can do for her. When we do assist, we are gonna check her face shape, her eye shape, her natural lashes, and the symmetry. We wanna break that down to really analyze the face as a whole. That's when I evaluate everything from that is in front of me, not just the eyes, but the entire face. This is when the consultation is over, and then we become detectives, right? That's what we're doing for the breakdown. We wanna get in there up close and personal to her natural lashes. And instead of thinking of just the eye shape, we're thinking the full face. And some of these pictures I do have, they are from the Sugar Lash Pro Lash Style course that has been the number 1 recommended course I have ever recommended. Everyone's always like, "Well, what course do you recommend?" After every course that I have ever taken, I definitely recommend the lash style course, and this is the it breaks down the face here on the picture. You can see what we're analyzing, the eyes, the mouth, the nose, everything in one. And now this is the breakdown I have made for a grid. I know it's a lot in packs, so go ahead, make sure you take your pictures or go ahead and, um, come back to this. So we have 6 face shapes. We have oval. Oval is all balanced proportions. It's slightly narrower at the jawline. It's versatile for all lash shapes or lash styles. Um, Round, you have soft curves. You have your face width is uh, the both width and length are similar, and this is where you could add some lift to elongate the eye. If they are square, they're gonna have a strong jawline. The face width are similar as well as a length. They have soft angles when styling. Our heart shape is wider on the forehead, but narrower on the jawline, and this is balanced on the top and the bottom. The diamond is narrow on the forehead and the jawline, and it has wider cheekbones, and then, of course, it has highlights on the cheeks and soft cheeks highlight the eyes, and a rectangular long face is the face is longer than it is wide, add width and softness. So these are the face shapes. Now these are the eye shapes. So the eye shapes, everyone, of course, is different, and they can be a combination. They can have a long face with almond eyes. They can have a round face with round eyes. Everyone is absolutely different. So we have almond, which is a balanced shape, slightly wider in the middle. We have a round, which eyes appear round and open. Hooded eyes have the lid slightly covers the crease. Monolid has no visible creases as a flat lid. A deep set eyes with brow bone is prominent and the lid sits deeper in the orbit. Protruding eyes are more prominent. Downward turned eyes, outer corner points downward. Upturned is outer corner eyes go upward. And then close set eyes are for closer eyes. Wide set are the little further apart. So it's a lot of little different things to make the map because then we're talking about also the proportions of the eye. So this is a lot of the stuff that I had a lot of struggle with doing, so that's why I really enjoyed the visual, show you guys what you are looking for. Um, so your eye size, they adjust the length and curl to open or soften, whether they're small or larger. The eye spacing, if they're closed set or wide set, are ideal. The eye height, if they're deep set, ideal, or protruding, so you can use your mapping to create either a more open eye or maybe they are too open that you wanna close them in a little bit, you could also do that. Um, these are just what all the things you wanna look at when you are mapping. So, of course, the brow to the eye distance, see how much we can put here for length, and then also the face balance to know if they're symmetrical or they're not. This is where you can assess both eyes and never assume they are the same. And when I was looking at my picture, I realized that mine are not asymmetrical, one slightly even, while the one is a little bit down or upturned a little bit. And remember, you don't change the eye, we wanna enhance what is already beautiful. So I'm not gonna tell my client well, you have some deep set eyes, so I think we should do this, right? You don't have to explain that, um, but you can explain that you are changing the eye anatomy to go ahead and give her a lift if needed. We also want to check their natural lash assessment. So we want to make sure how dense they are. Are they sparse? Are they medium? Are they dense? The direction, are they straight? Are they downwards? Are they outwards? How do they grow? The length of them. So if they're short, they can be 0 to 6 millimeters. If they're medium, it'd be 6 to 10 millimeters. Or long, maybe they have really long lashes and they could hold that weight. We all want to make sure we take into consideration the natural lash health. Thickness, of course, we need to see how thick their lashes are and make sure you are just really analyzing the natural lashes and working with the natural lash health again, not against them. So always double check because if you have that client that wants those really long, beautiful lashes and her lashes are weak, we are not going to compromise their natural lashes. So then we refine. Um, and this is when I decide exactly what visual effect I'm trying to create. We're going to decide what to enhance or soften. We're going to correct the visual imbalances, and we're going to choose the design intention. What is the goal, right? We want to open the eyes, we want to soften the eyes, we want to maybe make them longer, but we also are going to keep them natural. What is the goal that we are trying to do? So the possible design goals maybe lift them, open, elongate, soften them, add balance to them, and then correct the asymmetry. This is where the mapping begins. This is our model. She is we're gonna get a deep dive and map her accordingly. So, and by doing that, we're going to choose the curl, the length, the diameter, the mapping, and the direction that we want our lashes to be in. Only then is when I would choose all of these. After I've already consulted, I've already assessed her, I already saw what I need to refine. I'm going to individualize for my specific client in front of me. So we choose the curls. So this is a mapping chart that we do have with Straighter Lash, and we have multiple curls. The ones I'm gonna talk about is C, 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 D, L, and M. So our C curl is the most universal curl. If you have a first-time client that is coming in and it's the first time they ever have lashes and they're like, I'm not sure what curl I want. I want very sleek, very, very natural," then we would go ahead and use our C curl. Our CC curl is personally my favorite curl. Um, a lot of my clients have more downturned lashes, but not where they're extremely down, they're at an angle, so that CC curl just gives it the perfect lift that isn't so dramatic, but it also is natural looking. Now, a D curl is a type barrel curl that is very dramatic. They're great for clients that want a very dramatic lift or already have naturally curly eyelashes. An L curl has an L flat base, and it gives excellent hold for downward or straight lashes. These are great for clients that have a lot of lids we can work with. The M curl is perfect for hooded eyes. An M curl looks similar to an L curl, but is slightly less dramatic. M curl has a more 90-degree curl compared to the L curl. And then choosing our lengths and diameter, this is just a rule of thumb. If a lash artist wants to add volume with a thick lash extension, um, which would be like 0.15 millimeters or 0.18 or 18 millimeters. The extension length should be no more than 2 millimeters longer than the natural lash. This is to avoid making the lash too heavy. If the lash artist wants to add more length rather than fullness, the natural lashes can be safely extended by 180% the length of a natural lash with a thinner extension. So this is our rule of thumb for choosing against your natural lash. This is what we could use. So just an example that we have, if your client has 8 millimeter natural lashes that are medium thickness, your extension options are to give max volume by using a 0.18 thickness and 10 millimeter as the longest length. and giving her a bit of volume and length by using 0.15, which would be 12 millimeters, as the longest length. This is just a really good rule of thumb to always keep an eye on to make sure you are never damaging natural lashes. So the mapping patterns, where I have them all laid out in the next slide. So our cat eye, of course, it wants to elongate the eye. Our open eye lifts the center of the eye. A doll eye creates a rounder look. A squirrel lifts before the outer corner. And then natural follows natural growth, and hybrid, of course, is multiple patterns in one. So the best map is the one that creates balance for your client in front of you. This is our cat eye, and this is also from that lash style course. This dramatic feline style should be used really. The effects are strong, so it shows um, where to lash the map. So I'm going to use my cursor so you can see. Hopefully, it shows up here. So the IC means inner corner. The OC means outer corner. So your cat eye is best used on upturned eyes or close-set eyes. It does have a small little taper at the end of the cat eye, and you can see the E is for emphasis, which would be your longest length. So in this case, it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and the end could be 12, 11, 10, 9, which is the cat eye, and you can see the setting on the model there. Now this is an open eye, and this is dramatic and full. The style provides elongation and lift to the eye with additional length all over. So this is going to go, this area is the longest area, and you go ahead and start at 9, 10, 11, axis 12, 11, 10. And I love how you can see a visual of how it would change your eye shape here. So with the next eye shape is doll. And as you can see here, this corrective setting aims to open the eye and needs more lift and also balances wide set eyes. And the iris point, that is the map for the doll eye. So we can see different lash extension shapes on the model. This is our natural eye. This is going to be the middle of the pupil. This style is a go-to for every day. So if a client earlier, she said, "Oh, I just want something every day, natural," this is what I would style for. And what you're doing is 45-degree angle for the outer iris. So you're measuring where the iris is outwards. A flick, okay. And then the last one is the flick. So neither over the top nor extreme. This style is low key cat eye, and it still elongates the eye. The flick style is best used on oval shapes, round faces, long faces, and close set eyes. I love the flick. I this is I think it's a lot better uh, for certain eye shapes because, like I mentioned earlier, I always got cat eye, and my eye would close very heavily on the outer corners of my eye shape. So my eye would look kind of droopy when they would give me just a cat eye. Like I mentioned earlier, I now see my eye shape where I'm a little upturned a little bit. So when it's like this, and I use that droopiness on the eye, it is making my eye droopy rather than when if I was flick and crease the ends of my outer corners, that would avoid me getting that droopiness. So the Carina mapping rule is use the pattern based on the visual effect you need, not the name the client asks for. So if you elongate cat eye, round doll shape, lift open eye, squirrel, or enhance natural. And of course, direction matters. So, universal, sweeping, and angled are 3 different lash direction techniques used to maximize the lash line. Lash extensions are placed at various angles with different bond types for each, depending on the areas you want to elongate. When choosing lash direction, take into consideration how full or sparse your client's natural lashes are and any corrective lashing you need to do. Sparse inner corners and wide set eyes would not be a good candidate for angled lash directions. So it all depends as well on the natural lash. If we want to go ahead and correct with the extension that we place on top of the natural lash, that's how we would go ahead and correct the eye or the natural lash. So then navigate as I work, I stay flexible. Real clients don't have textbook eyes or perfect natural lashes. So this is the time where we adjust, we work, we adapt. So adjust, we're going to adjust throughout the set. Maybe this has happened actually before. So in Procreate, I will draw a lash set on a client. I'm like, this is what I want to do on them. But until I actually see them and see their natural lashes, that is when I can actually adjust to their natural lashes. We can work with growth patterns, and of course, we adapt to symmetry. Your map is allowed to change. So if I drew one map I thought maybe cat eye would work, and then I realized the way her eye shape is, then I could go ahead and go into a flick instead. So I am adjusting her map. We adjust for growth patterns, missing lashes, symmetry, and sparse areas. And then analyze. Uh, This is the last step. So finally, I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna evaluate the overall balance before calling the set complete. Um, this is the time where I really think, like this is the time where I really think back and I can step back and just actually look at the set complete. So this is where I check the balance of it. Does one eye have more lashes than the other? Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and either add more or I can go ahead and adjust to make sure and we have to remove more because she has some lashes on this end or doesn't have enough lashes on one eye than the other. I wanna make sure I am adjusting. So take a step back, have them open your eyes, don't untape, just have them open, make sure you do fan them out, but go ahead and check. You can also use a lash mirror or a dental mirror and check the work at the end. You make final adjustments, and then you also take your pictures and evaluate at the end. Have you ever not taken a step back and you're like, "Oh, we're done, take a picture," then you leave, and then you look at that picture and you're just like, "Hmm, one side is, definitely fuller or that is not symmetrical." It's just the time to reanalyze your work. Always step back before you are done. You'd hate to untape your client, like, "Okay, we are done," and then be like, "Wait, there's still more that I could have done or I could have fixed." So the final checklist, you're gonna check your balance, symmetry, your weight, your density, the flow, and of course, you take your pictures for your Instagram or your business page. So this is our client. So what does the actual client want, right? So she is a college student. She is doesn't really work out, but she's on the go, and she wants to come in for lash sets. So we're gonna go ahead and consult. We're gonna ask her all of these questions to figure out what works best for does she want to wake up more awake? Does she want to be more glamorous, more natural? What other things could I do to create confidence that she wants? So when I consult with the client, I ask myself one question: what problem am I trying to solve for my client? She says, I just don't, I want to be natural every day. I want to just put it on. We all put on just a quick lip gloss and go. I just want to look good, feel good, and I'm out the door. Sounds good to me, right? I want to give her that. So then we figure that out. And then we're gonna assess her face, right? So her face, I'm looking at it and I know the angle I took. Sorry, that's just the way I usually take my photos. So, they're always at an angle, but she does have an oval face shape. She does and she's kind of like in the middle too, because it gives a little bit of roundness with her cheeks. When she smiles, she has round cheeks. Just her face naturally though, it is oval. She has almond-shaped eyes. They're hooded, right? They have a little bit of a hood to them. Um, but I when I look at her, I'm like, something enhances her eye color is what I would like to do. This leads into knowing that, I'm going to help her with her every day. She doesn't want maintenance, she doesn't want like that, she just wants naturally beautiful every day, so we're gonna give her that. So, this time where I started looking at her natural lash assessment. I had already mapped here, but because I saw, well, she has sparseness, she has a little bit of gaps with natural lashing, and I had did go ahead and set tape just to give me a little bit of lift of her eye to make sure that we do get in there. So, originally, I had told myself, "I'm gonna start her 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then go down." I didn't end up doing that. I ended up when I actually saw her behind it on my point of view, when I saw this, I said, "I can't go to 12. I cannot go that high." And what I did was, a mapping to create more density and fullness rather than length. So, our mapping here is a natural that I did. So we started off the top layers of her lashes is 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9. The bottom layer of lashes, I did 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, 10. And I did a CC curl because her lashes do go straight at an angle. So I know her face shape. I know what lash lengths I could use. So that's when I started reading, and that's why I was already thinking in my head, I wanna make her eyes be the center of it. I want when people see her face, they're gonna go straight to her eyes. She has beautiful green eyes, so that's when I knew I was gonna use the kitten styling to open her eyes just enough, or the natural, just to open up her eyes to show that, uh, just to show the peak of her iris. We want people to look at them to show very soft and airy. So this is the lash map that I chose, and this is when I took the time to individualize it directly just for her. So this lash map would probably not look the best on me because I have a different eye shape, I have a different face shape. So, talked about the mapping there. And so this is what it looks like when I had completed the set. This is when I went in there, I started checking each lash. I started making sure that I had no stickies, and I started seeing those gaps. So on the top line between, in the section of 9, 10, like the 3rd section in, there's a little bit of that gap, but that's why I used the volume. I did volume on her, so I could cover up those sparseness. I wanted to make sure that, they were gonna be full, cover that sparseness up, and also give her that nice airy look. And that's how we did it to navigate. So this is actually her finished lash set. This has to be one of my favorite models because she has beautiful eyes. Um, Actually, my choice, my sister-in-law. But yes, I wanted to really just open her eyes. So that's the finished look of how I went to make sure we are looking at her eyes directly. It might be the lash artist in me, but that's the first thing I look at when I look at her. Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to give her a lift, but not enough to where it's a distraction to soften her features, and so she absolutely loves getting her lashes done and just going on with, like, a lip balm or lip gloss on the go. So, of course, you always wanna check your work. This is just me combing out through the lashes, no stickies, no pulling, just check, see what you can add or remove from the set itself. And this is the result. We given her density, we gave her fullness, it opened her eyes, and it really enhanced her facial features. The common mistakes when you are mapping is obviously it's like mapping only the eye. I used to always do that. I did it. Copying Instagram. I remember this one time, and I feel like it's such a horror story, if I'm being completely honest, because I had someone come in and she showed me this picture and she goes, "This is what I want in my eye. This is exactly what I want in my eye." And I said, "Okay." So she sent me, I think it was like a wet look. It was a brown wet look wispy, but it had up to like 16, as the longest length on some of the wispies. Now, the reason she talked me into it was because she's someone that I knew as a person, so I said, "Sure, I'll do whatever you want, but just know I normally wouldn't feel comfortable doing this." She's like, "Nope, I want it. I said I want it. This is what I want." Um, okay, so I did the exact lash map that I had seen on what she had brought me. I think it was a TikTok, if I'm not mistaken, TikTok or Instagram. I did the exact same map on her eye shape, and it's bad. Like, she had almond-shaped eyes, and I was get like, the lash map was very open eye. So, she was like, her eyes were just like this, and, she didn't like it, and I don't think I ever did her lashes after that. This was, like, so long ago. This is probably in 2022, 2023, and that's when I realized that there has to be more to this because I just gave her the same thing as somebody else that is trending, but it just looked bad on her. It didn't look as the way it should have been. So that's definitely one thing I don't recommend. Do not copy them, a lash map, or if you do, just make sure you make it to your client's face. Ignoring face shapes, which is definitely something else I did. She has a long face shape, and so it did not look good, on her as well, and yeah. And I also ignored her natural lash health because I was just focused on giving her what she directly wanted, so at that time, I definitely should have said, "Hey, no, that's not what we're going to do." And then just chasing trends, of course. You wanna make this designed for you. So the biggest mindset shift to like, "What map should I use?" would be an old question to, "What design will best suit my client?" Of course, it's always gonna be different with every person that comes into your chair or lash table, lash bed. So remember, don't map the face, but design the face. Does anyone have any questions about any of that? Or have any questions for right now that I can either answer or I'll come back to it? What is your current experience level with Procreate? In this next part, guys, we're gonna start jumping into our Procreate, and we're going to lash map together so we can understand the things that we can do before your client even comes in. I've been lash mapping on Procreate since I think 2022 of October. I have bought in multiple um, there's multiple brushes that you can add from certain lash companies like Maven, Sinlash. There's a lot of them. You can Google how to get extra brushes. So this is the time that we can talk about learning all that stuff. So I'm super excited. I'm gonna start switching. Yay, amazing. I definitely am excited because I've actually never have lashed myself personally. Well, obviously I can't lash myself, sorry. Correction. I've never used my face as a map before on Procreate, where I actually felt confident to do this because this was so long ago. So I'm very excited to show or talk about my face and what I would do. But I think it's gonna just cause me to wanna go get my lashes done, and I'm the worst. Like, I can literally only lay down for a few minutes. Alright, let me see. So let me go ahead and talk a little bit about Procreate, what it is, and then we'll jump into the live demo. So why Procreate? So Procreate is such a great tool. As you guys can probably see, I am lash obsessed, or maybe lashes are obsessed with me. We can go talk about that later though. Um, so the way I think about it is if you can already see a lash map or design or maybe a little bit of a beginner of your consultation, so when is like better to be in advance with time. If your client comes in, and this is actually what I used to do with new clients every time, I would ask them for a picture. Okay, I've been talking for a while. I was like, hold on, I need to catch my breath. Um, when I started doing this back in 2022, and I would have my clients to send me a natural photo of them, natural lighting, preferably outside or natural lighting or a white background, just something up close to their face. So I could already have multiple lash designs already set for them so they could look at them visually, and I thought that was super cool when I started doing that, and I actually found a picture, that I did use, so I'm excited to show you guys, back in my old work of how I used to use it. So Procreate is allows lash artists to create clean visual lash maps. You can plan custom sets before application, and that's amazing because then you get to see what works and doesn't work for your client. I've had my best friend Hannah, which we are actually gonna do her face as well. I've been doing her lashes since 2022, and when I gave her a doll eye, it also was like her eyes were very open. I thought I could just use anything on anyone, okay, at that time, but now that after I had started using this app and then drawing the faces, I could get a visual before I even did apply the lash extension. So, this also helps you communicate designs clearly with your clients. If they wanna know what they're gonna look like, all day, every day, this is incredible to show them that because if had I used this app with that friend who, like, told me just to do that lash map, I probably could have given her a visual of what they would look like. She probably would have said, "No, Karina, don't put that on my eyes," but instead, I let her live with that on her eyes. So also practice styling concepts digitally, which I think is so cool. I think, as I always say, I'm a forever student. If I can go back or if I could learn something new every day, I am very satisfied and being lash obsessed, very happy to learn and practice more concepts, which will be cool to show you guys visually what we do, which will be up, um, and hopefully I can show you guys how I'm flicking the wrist to show you guys a few things. It also can be you can save and organize lash mapping ideas. So I have a client here, and the way I did her lash map, I did it multiple ways, and I was like, "This is the best one fit," but you can save it on there where you don't have to delete the lash set or create another one. You just add another layer, which I will explain layers. Um, Think of Procreate as your digital lash mapping canvas. So you put on a photo and you get to draw different lash styles and see what fits better with your client's natural face shape, eye shape, and features. So setting up your canvas. This is your recommendation for canvases. You could also just upload directly a photo and use that the way it is already. Now, this is just getting a little tedious to set up your canvases. You do not have to do such a thing. You can just open it. Um, and there's layers. So the layers keep each element separate so you can change between settings in Procreate. And layers matter because they're easy to edit. You can adjust lash maps without starting over. And then you can also keep the eye shape, the mapping, the styling, and you can keep your notes organized. So you can write in the corner everything that you just did on the lash map, and that's what you're going to do for future. So you can always have them already ready to go, which I think is a great idea because you could just write your client's lash map so you are never going back to second guess what you used on your client before. The essential tools for lash artists, these are the tools we'll use the most. The brush tool, which is, drawing the lash extensions directly onto the picture, creating spikes, adding texture and details. You also have an eraser tool, which you can clean up the lines, you can adjust the placement, undo or redo quick corrections. You can, instead of doing this on a person and trying to guess, you can have a visual on your iPad. You can zoom and rotate the canvas, which will help you be more precise with all the details that you draw. And then color picker. So you can also match lash colors and create dimensions. So if you wanted to, you could also you can add your peekaboos of color on there, or if you needed to put your bones or your emphasis area, you can always change the color palette as well to what you needed to demonstrate. So understanding layers. Layers in Procreate will be to help you. It's like having an overlay. That's how the best way I could explain a layer, and it's more of a visual. I'll show you right now. A simple layer setup. So you're first going to be just the eye, the natural lash line, your client's features. Layer 2 will be your lash mapping, your sections, the lengths, your styling pattern. Layer 3 can be your spikes if you're going to add fans, texture, styling effects. Layer 4 could be your notes, which you will already write all your notes in that what you will want to plan to use, your pros, your diameter, the density, the products that you've used. So creating a lash map digitally. This is a digital lash mapping workflow. So you choose your eye shape, you mark your sections, you add your links, you create your styling pattern, adjust density and texture, and add notes for application. Creating different slash styles in Procreate. There's classic set, so you're gonna clean directional placement, lengths, volume, density, and fan placement layering effects. Wispy set, so spikes, texture, lengths variation. Wet set, close fans, strong direction. This is a digital map that I actually used on my client Valerie. Um, so I said, "Hey girl, like, I know it's the first time I do your lashes. I just really wanna know, what I could have already digitally mapped out for you, so when you come and see me, we will already have an idea of what your set will look like." And I tried different looks on her, and everything just looks so heavy. She has very soft, beautiful features, more round and with her jaw, with the chin, but very soft, right? She has more like white set, and the eyes are a little bit bigger, so I wasn't gonna give her anything that was an open eye, right? She already has wider eyes, so this is what I thought of. Now, at the time before I saw her, I said, "I'm gonna add some point tens for the curl to add a little bit more of a wispy effect," which was my initial a thought process when I mapped her out digitally. But when I saw her, I was like, I don't think we need to add the wispiness. I think it'd be just pretty just to give her a volume set, and that's what we did. And then this is how it looked. So I already had like a little bit of a visual of what it would look like before she even got to my lash bed. Oh, and just like one more time, because I do love this set I did. So now I'm going to jump into Procreate. Please bear with me 1 second. I'm going to get the app started. Let me oh, sorry. Let me share my other screen. This one. Hopefully. sorry guys. iPad, yes. Does it, oops, I'm so sorry. Does it show, hold on. There you go. Okay, cool. I am going to, this is me. Sorry about that. This is Procreate that I have open, right? And so what I did is I pressed gallery on top and then let me show you the cursor. So I pressed, does this work? I did a photo and then I picked my photo. So I'm gonna click my photo insert. I'm going to, oh, you know, this is my lash map. I know for a fact that I have an in-between face of round and oval. When I smile, I'm very round from my cheeks. Um, if you, I'm sure you can see, I'm gonna get my little paintbrush out. I'm gonna get my sketching and I'm going to just get pencil. I can see here where my eye shape is. Am I not the straightest guys? I'm sorry, but if I was, wow, I look where my eye shape is. We're going to the inner corner. This is what I want to focus on right here. That's how I can tell if where my plane is on my eyes. So they are almond, but they are not an even plane across. I'm gonna remove that. Now, when I talked about layers, there's this button up here that has layers. I'm gonna go ahead and add a layer. This is gonna allow me to draw that those lines again. So I'm gonna cross and across. I can tell that my eyes are more down in the inner corner and they kind of ascend inwards. So I'm gonna draw my mapping here, and then I'm gonna come back in here. I already know where my eye shape is. I'm gonna remove that layer. All I did was check mark. It's gonna show for your layer, uncheck, that will remove that layer, right? So then I'm gonna come over here and add a third layer. This is when I wanna know my lash map. I already know the face shape. I know what I want. So I'm going to come into my brushes. This is just clicking up on top where that paintbrush is. And like I said, I've had multiple, since I've been doing this for a while, I do have multiple lash maps on here and brushes. I want to, let's see, I've never really done my own face, but I know I want something volume. Hmm. Now, what kind of volume do I want? Maybe I want us to do a open eye. So I'm gonna click open eye. That is already on my Apple Pencil, already at my mode. What I'm gonna do is just directly push into the iPad, and it will show you a stamp. You will then get to the top arrow points, and that's when you can move the mapping into place. So I need to shorten these up. and I'm just sizing it down to where I want it. Now that is with the open eye. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna go ahead and add another layer. For the next layer, I'm gonna get another paintbrush and we're gonna check another eye shape. Let's do the eyeliner wispy. Again, I'm just gonna snap it on, get that arrow. I'm going to flip it horizontally, and then I'm going to size it down to the size I need it. And it just takes some playing with, but and this is giving me a visual of how I would look with those two different eye shapes. So the layers just allow me to look at them. So I can just leave that one on, close it, which I do like how it is really opening my eyes there. And then this is the other one. But I do like how that makes me more sultry long words, but it is causing me to look a little droopy on the end there. So then I get to turn on both of my layers and I get to see how that looks. So let's say, oh, I love this, the right side. This one I can get a visual of what I would want to write. Let's do this. So if I want to map this, whoa, that's not the stroke I want. Would you Procreate pencil just so I can draw on it? And this is where I can go, this is gonna be so and so the length. So maybe here I can do maybe 7, 8, 9. This will be my 10s. And then we can do 9. Sorry, 8. So then we get a visual. The second does really enhance my eye color, it's so interesting, and it really gives you a visual of what it would look like. So, I really like how that would look. Is anyone taking lash appointments today? And then let's go ahead and lash my, my best friend. So, um, we saw the face shape, I'm oval round, I have a soft chin, and, I have average proportions from my actual face shape. And then let's go ahead and so you can just pick gallery, go back, and then we're gonna my best friend Hannah. So again, we're gonna add our layer, which is the first thing. When we add our layer, we're gonna draw those lines, right? We want to see she's very even across her, even, even. Now she does have bigger eyes, but they are like round almonds. So she's a blend of two eye shapes, and they're a little bit deep set. Um, and her face shape is a little oval, but she does have a little bit of her forehead kind of resembling a little bit of heart. So she's kind of in the middle of that. So we drew those on. We're gonna go ahead and remove our layer. So then we can go ahead and now draw what would look best on her. And then I wanna see here in a classic eye. So or we'll do one classic, one mega volume or wispy volume. Let's see, let's do a squirrel cat eye. So we'll push on that mark on there. We're gonna use that arrow to go ahead and move her the size. Ooh, love it. And then we're gonna go ahead and add another layer, and let's do a volume set, and what did we just do? We did a okay, we did a squirrel. Let's do a volume squirrel. So we'll do it here and then get that arrow. We're gonna flip it horizontally and we're gonna just shape it down. I feel like that just he does not need volume at all. I feel like if I gave her volume swirl, it is not enhancing her eye shape. It is closing off the light to hit her eye. Looks very dark. So I actually only love doing on head, which her eyes just look incredible at doing that. So let's go ahead and remove that volume. We're gonna go to our layer, remove that. Now I can grab this. Let me grab this. We're gonna go back to the layer. I'm going to click, oops, this. Sorry. Or actually, let's go ahead and look at another map. So I like her in classic. Now we did squirrel for her. Let's try open eye. And these already have a lot of custom built in brushes. So it's easier to just like stick them on. Now you could also draw on them directly. I'll show you. So we have squirrel on the right side, and then on our left side, we have the open eye, but it shows such a difference in her eye shape. It has changed her eye shape completely. I now love her in the squirrel, and I'm gonna say, "Hey, I know what lash app would look good on you. This is what I drew on. What do you think?" So I'm gonna add one more map so I can show you guys that you could also draw on here. And it's just not there's also shape guides if you needed different shapes. I am gonna do, let's do 2D. Come in here, you're gonna zoom in on your picture, and you're just doing like little J's. You can also draw in. This is just, there you go. And that's just 2D. But there's just so many ways that you could flip this around, add more, add less. If I want to do maybe just spikes, let's come in here and just do a classic smooth spike. You can come in here and just add more to it. If we want to mention. And I get which one's the enemy lash, right? Which one just for fun. That was low dramatic. But you can draw some more so then your client can get a visual and then you're both not wondering what to do on your client. So there is a lot more for Procreate that we can discuss and do more of. But like this looks so cool to me. And you can zoom in, zoom out, and really just get more visuals of what you can use for your clients. Let me get back to my presentation. And let's see how we got this. Let me reshare, guys. I'm gonna just reshare my screen. So I hope that gave you guys a little bit of a visual of how to use Procreate or maybe inspired you to now do digital mapping. Whatever the case may be, let me know if you ever have any questions or need a little bit more of a breakdown. Maybe I can just do a little content video on Instagram for you guys to show like my hand motions and what I'm doing directly. But I hope I showed a little bit how cool that was. Um, let me back over here. Yeah, and so I also want to talk about our upcoming webinars. I know we have these two lined up. I know we have more for the rest of the year, but these are the two next up. So we have Tammy. This is her Instagram, lashedu.slp, and she will be talking about the eyeliner effect, mastering the L curl cat eye. That's going to be awesome because I am scared to use L curl, but because maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe this will give me more confidence. Uh, then we have Irene, which honestly I'm so excited for as well. We She's going to be talking about the Korean lash lift trend, focusing on soft structure, shine, and lash health. But also in this webinar, she's going to be using the Sugar Lash Pro formulas to create the feel modern, natural, and elevated look that we now see in the Korean lash lift. So we have one in August 27th with Tammy, and then September 15th with Irene. So those are going to be super great. I definitely 100% recommend because I will definitely be there. And we do have a special code webinar too, and you enjoy 30% off wide. This is valid for 3 days from today. So I hope you guys enjoy today's webinar and get some good stuff for sure to from your cart. And then thank you so much, everyone. I hope I was able to explain the Carina method and get you guys to all learn about mapping just a little bit differently. We do have this awesome QR code for our webinar feedback, which would be super amazing. You can also let us know what you want to see Sugar Lash Pro educators talk about. My Instagram is Cosmic Pink Lashes, so if you want to follow, I follow back. And if you ever need me, you can also DM me there. You can also email me at Carina@sugarlashpro.com. I'm cool. But yeah, if you have any questions, let's talk. I am here, and we can absolutely talk some more.